what is your favorite flavor of rock that you've licked? Because you brought it up.
I'll go last because I feel like I have the best story.
Welcome back to the Unfiltered Outdoors podcast, where we talk hunting, conservation, and outdoor culture without the filters, without the gatekeeping, or the fake nice conversations. My name is Tony, co-hosting alongside Kenny. Kenny, how are you today, man?
I'm chilling, living the American dream.
Good deal, good deal. And also joining us today, and will be a regular attender on the podcast, is Hunters of Color's very own Director of Training and Outdoor Engagement, Bianka. Bianca, how's it going?
What's up, dude? I'm in Colorado right now, and there's no snow where I live, so I've been better.
That's crazy, actually, to me.
Yeah, Missouri right now, we got like 8 inches, so it's been wild. Everybody has been hustling to the store to get all of the milk and the bread and the eggs.
And the toilet paper.
I know, dude. Like the only thing that you can do while it's snowing outside is make French toast and take a shit. Like, apparently that's the only thing that could happen. So it's been wild here to see all the empty shelves, but I think we're starting to get back to normal. Weather's a little bit warmer, snow's melting away. So yeah, so today we're gonna be asking a simple question that somehow makes people really uncomfortable. And that's, who told you the outdoors wasn't for you? So let's get into it. So I want to start out by hearing from biologists. Like, tell us about the first time that you ever felt unwelcomed or out of place in the outdoors.
Man, my first time, because I didn't grow up hunting and fishing, and I didn't even camp until I got to college. Thanks to my palm friends. But I got outdoors, and the first time I felt uncomfortable, I started climbing. And that was my first outdoor activity, outside of just like shooting guns and stuff. And I remember we were walking around the crag, like the climbing spot, and I kept getting all these stares, and I felt them, and I'm like, what the freak? What is going on, bro? Like, why do people keep staring at me? And then I had that realization. I was like, oh shit. It's because there ain't no black people out here. There are never any black people out here. And the more and more I started having conversations and experience it, then I started writing about my experiences in the outdoors. And then now I document them. Now I get to tell stories about it to kind of show us doing all the things that you don't traditionally see us doing. But that was like my first like, oh shit moment, not my first experience of racism, but my first oh shit moment in the outdoors.
Yeah. Bianca, what about you?
I guess pretty similar. I also did not grow up hunting and fishing. I'm from Chicago, grew up there my whole life. And it wasn't necessarily like a moment of realizing I didn't belong in the outdoors, but it was more of a moment of like me, as well as like the environment around me, limiting my professions. So my undergrad was in biology, natural biology. I have like a minor in geology. Don't ask me about that. We really just like licked rocks and drank wine. But with my major in biology, I love the outdoors. Like, it's not something I experienced a lot in Chicago. And I think that's why I kind of felt a yearning for it. I had a high school teacher, shout out Mr. Balaban. I still talk about him to this day, but he was my like biology teacher in high school. And he used to take kids out to Harm's Woods to pick buckthorn. And I did that every once in a while as part of like my little Catholic school group. And he's why I majored in biology. Like, he's the one who set me down this career path. But when I was in college, I went to a pretty diverse college. It was in the middle of Chicago. It was like one of our biggest universities in the city. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I knew I wanted to be in biology. I knew I didn't want to be like stuck at a desk all day. I wanted to help the environment. And when I got close to graduation, I didn't really know what I was going to do. I didn't have a lot of, teachers who were people of color. And my brain just sort of defaulted to like, I guess I'll go do lab science or research or something. I guess just because I didn't know that there were more options. And luckily, I ended up not doing that. I really liked teaching, so I got into informal outdoor education. And I think this is the moment that hit hard for me. I used to work in southern Wisconsin, and they would bus students up from Chicago, and they were all black and brown students, Latino, like kids, like Chicago kids just like me. And I heard a kid tell me on more than one occasion that they had never been to Lake Michigan, which is like that's our biggest feature in Chicago. Like there's no East Chicago. There is an East Chicago, but there's no East Chicago. Technically East Chicago's in Indiana. Don't laugh, Kenny. Because there's just lake. And to have a kid, no, I'm so serious. East Chicago's in Indiana. But to have a kid tell me like
That's
your
crazy.
parents have been in Chicago their whole lives, you've been in Chicago your whole life, and you've never been to Lake Michigan just to like kick it at the beach. And I recognize that like despite the difficulties I had growing up, like I still had that privilege to have gone to the beach. And I think that's what made me realize like, damn, what do we do about all these kids who just don't get to go to the beach, or all these college students who don't understand that they can do something in an industry that they're not represented in? Like you can have that uncomfortable, I'm going to be the first to do it moment. And I think that like 2 years at the end of my college career, start of my professional career, really put things into context and made me say like, oh, I guess I got to do it. And here I am a couple of years later, and now I work in this amazing industry, and it isn't very diverse, but it's way different than it was when I first started. And, you know, I think there's kids that need to not have experienced what other kids experience. They need to see that leadership in these fields.
That's wild though, because I feel like for me growing up, there was just like things you could do, and the rest of it was like make believe. Like none of else of it's real. How did you decide, even though you had no example in front of you, that biology was going to be the thing? Because that makes, like, for me, I'm like, that's wild. Like you're just walking into like darkness, like you have no clue how that's going to turn out, what you can even do with that, and you still just made the choice.
I think because it was so like new to me. Like traditionally the people in my family on my mom's side, like my mom's family's Mexican, I'm second generation, but for my grandfather's generation back, they were all in agriculture. Like they did what our families did, and then they moved to Chicago. And so my grandparents' siblings, my mom and her sibling, I come from a very like military, law enforcement, fire department type of background. And so that's what everyone around me did. So when I realized that biology was something that was an option, I fell in love with it, especially because like, I grew up in the city. Like we had trees and grass, but we didn't have these like vast, crazy landscapes. And even the ones that we did were to a certain degree like inaccessible. Like my mom was a single mom. She's not going to take me to, like some woods in Wisconsin. She's working hard to get the bills paid. And I think when I was in high school and I went to go remove this like nasty, thorny, invasive plant from these woods, that was really my first experience being like, that's what it's like to not hear traffic. That's what it's like to not hear a bunch of people like, like in the street. That's what it's like to be in nature. And I think that sort of was like, how, like, why don't people do this more? Like, this is crazy that people don't get to do this. Yeah. And I think that was just it. Like, I remember the first time as an adult, I saw a like true night sky. And it's when I moved to Wisconsin to work at this job. And I just looked up and I was like, there's no way this is the same sky I've been looking at for 20 something years. And there's just stars in it. I remember the first time I saw the Milky Way, I was like, what is that? And it was insane. And I was like,
That's
there's no way that
crazy.
there's people who are still like 30, 40, 50 years old who look up and have never seen the same sky I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, and the Milky Way looks a lot different than the candy bar. I thought they did an awful job marketing that, but I do have a question that I think everybody is going to be thinking is like, what is your favorite flavor of rock that you've licked? Because you brought it up.
Yeah. Okay. I'll go last because I feel like I have the best story. So I'm gonna let Tony and Kenny. I'm gonna let you go first.
So for licking rocks,
Yes.
I'm like, I ain't licked the mushroom.
It's
I have a rock. I can rock licking story.
okay.
You said it's like a geology major, which is basically just licking rocks and drinking wine.
Okay.
You got to tell us what your favorite flavor of rock is.
I can get behind the wine part. Just the licking rocks don't happen too often for me.
So in my geology major, it's technically like Earth and Environmental Sciences is what it's called at University of Illinois at Chicago. We had this amazing professor. His name was like Dr. Koenig, I believe. But we went to go do some field work in Missouri, actually, Tony. We were out by like those Elephant Rocks up in like northeastern Missouri, Elephant Rock State Park. And we were just like doing stuff. And part of what you do is you bring this little bottle of limestone and you put it on different things. And it has like very dilute hydrochloric acid. And it's how you detect certain things with like, I think, calcium. So like limestone, stuff like that, things with like organic deposits. All that to say, we were looking at rocks. We had licked salt in the lab at some point, whether it was with teacher's instruction, without teacher's instruction. They were like, this is one of the only rocks that you can lick and get away with it without like dying or hurting yourself or like, so we had all licked or salt. It's not like it was new. And we were out doing field work. And this professor found this like super interesting rock. And we were all like, what is this? And he was like, you guys have to identify it. And so we're looking at it and there's like a couple of different pieces. And I don't remember if we found it or if he brought it. I don't remember the context, but he was like, lick it. And we were like, are you sure? He's like, trust me, it's not dangerous. Lick it. And so we all like licked it. And he was like, hold it on your tongue for like 3 seconds, like don't put it in your mouth, but just like, and so we did. And he was like, do you all notice how it's like very porous and your tongue kind of like got sucked into this rock? And we were like, yeah. And he's like, that's because it's bone. And I was like, bro, please. So, so that's my favorite rock licking story I was like, you think you're funny, huh? You think you're funny when I catch you? So it was a bone.
He tried to turn y'all to cannibals.
We've also, there's also like, I don't think it's standard, but sometimes if you're trying to identify like clay versus sand, you might like, because clay is like very fine. And so I'm not a geologist, man. I just dabbled, but sometimes you might lick a little bit of clay and just.
Yeah, Elephant Ross is cool though.
It is.
Yeah, it's a fun place. So, yeah, I think so. For me, like I grew up hunting with my grandpa, so I had the mentorship. So I didn't really feel any like discomfort in the outdoors until I moved away from home. And then, I think one of the big barriers that a lot of people of color face is access to land. So back home, like I had my grandpa's farm that I hunted on regularly. And I came from a small town of like 2,000 people. So even like before my grandpa had his farm, like we had family friends, where we could go hunt. So when I moved up to where I'm at now, like I didn't have the access to land. So I was like, okay, like there's more public land up here where I'm at. So I'll just hunt that. So it wasn't until I started trying to hunt public land that I really felt like, this is a lot different than being back home. So just seeing like, I had like, it's like a 19-year-old kid at this point. Well, I was like, hey, like, do you know what you're doing out here? It's like, yeah, dude, I'm hunting. Like, what do you mean? Do I know what I'm doing out here? And I think it was for that moment, it was like he, probably had never seen a person of color on that land before. B, thought it was appropriate to ask me if I knew what I was doing, which to this day, like, I don't know if it was from a point of like, hey, like, do you want help? Or it's like, hey, like, you don't belong here. I tell you, it made me feel more like an I don't belong here, whether that was his intention or not, which I think probably leads to some discussion that we should have at some point is like, if that is like, if you are, one of our white counterparts in the outdoors, like, how do you approach somebody of color in the outdoors without judgment and without creating uncomfort or without creating discomfort? And so for me, like that was kind of a wake up call for me. Is like, this is, I've grown up on private land with my grandpa, hunting since I was 8 years old. And now to experience that without my mentor, I felt capable. I felt confident in my skills and my ability, but it wasn't until like hitting that public land for the first time on my own that it was just like, like I've been doing this for years. Like, what do you mean? Do I know what I'm doing out here? So, that's so I think for us, like, I think at the end of the day, like the work that we do is really important, but there's a lot of training that comes with that. So like my question to you guys would be like, what would you recommend for our white counterparts to approach somebody in the outdoors that they see that doesn't look like them? How would you recommend they do that? Or do you recommend that they do it at all?
I say don't just like ask somebody you don't know. Like genuinely, like if you don't have relationships with people who don't look like you, start there. Like baseline, like genuinely, like insert yourself into those genuine relationship building opportunities. But just take somebody out. Like I would not have gotten outdoorsy or become outdoorsy if it wasn't for my coworker in Wisconsin, Patrick, shout out. Um, just like fishing in front of me and asking me if I wanted to know what he was doing. Like I had never seen fly fishing before. And like he also got me into like ice fishing and like just ask. I think everybody who wants to try something new, there's always that hesitation, especially if it's something as intimidating as hunting, especially if you're a person of color. So all of these things stack up. Just ask somebody if they want to come out and like genuinely take them up on the offer. Don't just ask and wait for them to, hit you back up eventually because it might not happen, but be like, "Hey, I'm going fishing or duck hunting on this date. Come on, like come with." I think it's really important to just, get over with it. Just ask.
Okay, see, from my perspective, when he asked that question, I was thinking while we're out in the field. Right.
Yeah, that too.
Two different worlds, right? Because shout out to Bugle and Bob. He's the reason why I'm even hunting. Is like I went to a bow shop. I went to a couple of bow shops. I had some pretty shitty experiences. One dude just didn't care to talk to me at all while I was in his shop, and I'm like, bro, I'm out here trying to buy. I bought a Matthews face bore, so I spent some money, and I'm like, the dude's not trying to like. No one's trying to talk to me, and then this dude Bob, I go in, and he was cool, and he's like, "Hey man, you want me to like take you out and I could teach you how to scout and da 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 da." Took me to his spots, really brought me under his wing, and I was like, "Man, I appreciate that." And he just treated me like a person. It wasn't even about the fact that I was a black dude, and I feel like that's a lot of it. But out in the field, that's difficult because I do feel like unless you're already crossing paths, like you probably should leave people alone when you're in the woods. But uh I don't know. It's so different because I like where I've hunted, depending on where I'm hunting, like most of the time is you're pretty far away from other people, and so I think I don't know, man. I would feel pretty um um I would feel pretty weird if someone was approaching me from across the field most of the time, but I think it, depends on how you approach people. If you're going to walk up to someone, maybe make yourself be seen from a long ways away, and that you're trying to come over and be a friend and be helpful. Yeah, that's tough. In the field is difficult. If it's a parking lot, it's cool, but in the field, be careful.
Yeah, because like at least in the hunter's education courses in Missouri, when they're talking about hunting public land, like one of the things that they teach you is like make yourself known so that they know you're there. So for me, like if you're going to approach me, a way that I would feel the most comfortable with your intentions and with how you're going to approach me is ask the first simple questions like, "Hey, like how long have you been hunting?" That tells me like, okay, like you want to know a little bit more about, like, rather than like, "Hey, like do you know what you're doing out here? Like what are you doing out here?" Like people of color have such vast different experiences. Like when we're asked those questions, that immediately puts us on edge. However, when you turn it around and you make it about the outdoor experience, we know you see that I'm out here in camo. You see that I have my safety orange on. You see that I'm carrying, a rifle. At what point do you think I'm not out here hunting? Like you've approached me, you see me, we're crossing paths, you know that I'm hunting. So if you see that happen, the way to approach is like, "Hey, like how long you been hunting?" And then at that point, like, I can answer the question, and then you can move along with the secondary question, like, "Hey, like have you ever hunted this land before?" And then at that point, like if you want to continue to make a connection, then you can. But I think how you approach people and the first things you say to them is super important for making people of color feel welcome in the outdoors, because I think a lot of what we hear is in our community is like, we don't do this. And that's something that we've heard, several different times. So, we've got communities all across the nation that are going out hunting together. And that's a safe place to do that. You're doing that with people that look like you. And that's helpful. And it provides a safe and vulnerable space to be able to learn and ask questions. But then when you turn around and go do it on your own, there's a way that the hunting community and the outdoors community has to work together to continue to feel safe for everyone outdoors. And the way that we can make that more comfortable is by asking simple questions and by doing that with intentionality. And I think sometimes people, people don't know what they don't know. And sometimes people are just, we still have people who are plenty racist. And to separate yourself from those who either A, are racist, or B, might come off racist, that's a very simple way that we can do that. It's like, hey, like, how long you been hunting? Have you hunted this land before? Like, what's your favorite spot? And then make it about hunting and not about like, who the hell are you on my public land? That's my spot. So when we do that, like, it creates a space where we can work a little bit more together, because at the end of the day, the outdoors are for everyone. Everyone deserves to be outdoors, and we want everybody to participate in the outdoors, but we have to do that collectively. It's not going to be a people of color versus, white people. And that's a question that at Hunters of Color, we get asked a lot. It's like, well, like, isn't what you're doing being exclusive to white folks? It's like, no, like, what we're doing is catching up on the barriers that BIPOC have experienced for a long time. Like, we have done this, we do this, we've always done this. There's just been a narrative written around people of color in the outdoors. Marketing has been a part of that to show that white people do this. It's been a white dominated industry for a long time, and that's how marketing has portrayed it too. But culturally and historically, like, people of color have been in the outdoors, and we've been doing this. So if you are a person of color, stop saying that we don't do this, because we do. And if you're a person of color that feels that way, reach out to us. Reach out to Hunters of Color and say, hey, like, I want to learn. Like, we got you. Like, we can help you learn. If you're one of our white counterparts, ask questions. Like, if you're not sure, like, hey, like, I want to support, but I don't know how. I want to engage, but I don't know how. We're never going to be offended. You say, hey, I grew up in a weird family of origin. I'm not really sure how this whole thing works, but like, I want to be able to do better. Like, when you know better, you can do better. So ask the questions to, like, a trusted person of color. Ask questions to a trusted organization that is doing this work, and you can take a hold of your part to be better for the outdoors for everyone.
I think it's interesting too, because even just like talking to, like, when you come upon somebody in the woods, or you're in the parking lot, wherever it is that you're going to go hunt, I think a lot of it is just asking like the normal questions. If you're out fishing, how was it today? Did you catch anything? Did you see anything while you were out there? Those kinds of things, like, make it so it feels like you're just talking to, it could be anybody else. Also, you saying that just made me think about, like, the fact that I think oftentimes when it comes to Black and brown bodies outdoors, hunting and fishing, a lot of our story and narrative is around sustenance versus like hobby, and we're not out there chasing trophies as much. Even though it does exist, it definitely does exist, but I think our story and our narrative looks a little different when it comes to like our experience with hunting and fishing. So that's like something I might even have to do a deeper dive on, and and have to do a little bit more research, but that feels accurate to me. So I'm not speaking for any brands or try to help anybody out there, but yeah, never mind. We won't even go into that, because we don't need to do that.
Yes. So Bianca, what would your response be to, because I know that, as you oversee all of Hunters of Colors programs, you get to hear our ambassadors talk about it a lot, and you probably get to hear it alone. Like, when people say we don't do this, like, talk about like your thoughts about that statement.
I feel like I think that this is where I'm fortunate. Like, I do hold a lot of privilege as a person of color. I'm mixed race. I'm light skinned. I'm college educated, and I have found personally in my experience, when somebody says, I didn't think people like who looked like you did that kind of thing, I've had it framed more where they've never seen like women or girly girls doing it. I've never really personally had an encounter where, it's been like a lot of like racial friction. And obviously, like, I think that's false, like, saying that your community doesn't do something is only robbing opportunity of the people who want to get into it or who are on their way to get into it. With our ambassadors, I think what they found, and I've talked to like our Colorado ambassadors here the most, just because it's where I am, and I've seen it in a couple of other communities, is people will say like, "Oh, but I'm not a hunter," when they actively hunt, or "Oh, I'm not an angler," when they actively fish. And there's this preconceived notion, I think, where as people of color, you do have to work twice as hard to get half as much. And I think that's where this mentality comes from. You don't have to be the best at what you do to say that you do it. And I even struggled with this where I would be like, oh, people would be like, oh, do you hunt? And I'd be like, well, I hunt, but I'm not really a hunter. And I think if anybody taught me to stop saying that, it's Jimmy, Flat, one of our founders. He was like, you are a hunter. Like, you don't have to be the best hunter in Colorado. You don't have to have like, the best duck calling skills in the state. You don't even have to be successful all of the time, but you are a hunter. People see you as a hunter, and you're actively passing on that love of hunting and environmental stewardship. And so I think when you say we don't do this, like, stop expecting yourself to be an expert in whatever you do to say that you enjoy it. Um, Obviously we do this. Like, statistically speaking, I could call up 10 different people right now in the next 5 minutes who are people of color that hunt. You can say you thought we didn't do this, or I don't see us doing this very often, but like, we do. We do. I just feel like it's not highlighted as much as in other communities. We don't get the same kind of, like, screen time or press time or representation, and that's still okay. Not, I mean, it's not, but like, we still do this, like, I don't know. And I think it goes back to Kenny's point on like media representation and branding, and just, pay attention to that kind of thing. If you're choosing who gets to speak or go on magazines or, wear your gear, it doesn't have to be like a hard push of everybody's got to be like Mexican in this magazine cover. Like, it's not that deep. Just put some people on it and they'll buy your gear, put some people on it and they'll use it, because we do it. I'm always looking for better gear, better fitting things that I like to do, things that I like to use, and I'm always passing that knowledge on to other people of color who hunt, who have the same problems as me when it comes to finding their niche, finding their brand, finding their whatever.
Now that you mentioned, always looking for gear, always looking for the thing. What's something that's gonna go with you everywhere you go? It doesn't matter if you're hunting. It don't matter if you're going on a hike, camping. You might just be going in a stroll in town. What's the thing you always have in your bag?
Damn.
I think for me, no, for me, like beef jerky is a staple. Like I gotta have beef jerky and I gotta have a protein bar. I don't know why. Like anytime I'm going outdoors, like those are just two things that I always keep with me. And I know we probably weren't leaning towards snack as gear here, but snack is a gear for me when I'm in the outdoors. I don't know how long I'm gonna be out there. I don't know wasn't what's gonna be ahead of me. But I think having a solid bag of beef jerky and a protein bar, phenomenal.
I need to bring you around more often when I go out then, because that's the thing I will forget is snacks.
You be forgetting the snacks?
Bro, I'll be out there starving, cold, forgetting stuff. Yeah, I got to do better. It's just the way I was raised. I don't have
Well,
experiences.
I think it's the dad in me too. Like, like I took my daughter hunting for the first time. And did she do anything? No, she sat down and ate cotton candy the whole time, and then she slept, and then she woke up. It's like, Dad, did you say anything? It's like, nope. Like, do you want to get up and look at me, or you just want to lay back down? But like, as a dad, like I'm carrying snacks all the time. Like, there's not a situation where I'm not weekly buying snacks in bulk. Like, snacks are purchased at a Sam's Club or a Costco or some type of bulk store, and that's the only place that happens because yeah, I got 4 kids. So when it's snack, like you get a little box of like 12 things of whatever, like whether it be like fruit snacks or, granola bars or whatever, you get a box of 12. That's 3 snack times for my kids. And it's just one of my kids saying, Dad, can I have a snack? One kid saying, Dad, can I have a snack? Turns into 4 kids saying, Dad, can I have a snack? Then that box is gone. So how we got on bulk snacks, don't know. But I'll never forget those snacks, man.
Yeah, you got to figure it out, Kenny. I'm always snacking out there. Snacks and baby wipes are in my bag anytime I'm hunting. I'm over here. Okay,
Is there a brand of baby wipes?
the Kirkland 8 bajillion pack. Yeah. It's taken up. Listen, I'm not about to sink.
That's the second. That's the second time we've mentioned Costco. We gonna have to reach out and have a conversation with him.
Costco. It's Costco ambassadors out here.
Listen, but on a serious note, I think if I'm going hiking and hunting, that there's different stuff that I bring. But anytime I walk out the house, I'm gonna call us out. Sunscreen. Don't come to me if you are a person of color talking about we don't need sunscreen. Get out of my face. Yes, we do. No. I'm just saying the amount of people who I'm like, we don't need sunscreen. Excuse me. That's why, listen, that's why we're aging different. That's why you look like that and I look like this. That's why we're aging different. And also, like, if you have tattoos, you know how much money I spend on tattoos just to have them baking in the sun? Absolutely not. Put some sunscreen in your bag.
That's crazy. I do need to do better with that though, because I got a whole like, you got to take care of the skin. We start getting up there in age, and it's like you got to make sure you're still looking tight. So
Yeah,
I got
I
a
think
skin routine, but I don't use sunscreen though. I need to get on it.
I used to not be a sunscreen person. I used to be like very casual about it when I was younger, but I also lived in the Midwest where it was less sunny. Since I moved to Colorado, this sun does not play.
Dang.
Yeah.
Dang.
So, listen.
I think something that's newly added to my list is bug spray. And the reason I say that is because in my area, Lone Star ticks have been kind of taking over. And my girlfriend's son has alpha gal, and watching her navigate that diet, number one, absolute saint. But number two, like all the things that I enjoy in life are probably not alpha gal friendly. So I don't want to have that. So bug spray is now like in the top of my list. Because like, listen, going in the outdoors, getting bit by a tick, and then never being able to eat beef again is the worst case scenario. It's probably not, there's probably a lot worse things, but it's like talking about it right now, it's just like, that sounds like an awful life. Like, say at least not a lot.
At least top 10.
Like I ain't trying to compete with like cancer or anything, but alpha gal sounds awful.
I feel that.
Listen, Colorado doesn't have mosquitoes like that.
Oh, that's turning crazy. I did not realize that. But do y'all got ticks though? Y'all gotta have ticks.
We do have ticks, but I'm tick paranoid coming from the Midwest, and I don't see them at the same frequency I did when I lived in like Illinois, Wisconsin. But we do have them, and we have mosquitoes, just not like that.
The tick thing, I never thought about ticks in my whole entire existence until I went out eastern Oregon hunting. And I got a tick on me, and I was like, now I'm just paranoid. I'm always like, I'm gonna get some tick-borne disease and have to just be sick for the rest of my. I hate it, bro. I couldn't live in the Midwest because of that.
Use permethrin. That's what I use.
Oh, my stuff is drenched in it. It's like dripping off of my clothes before I go hunt, because I'm like, ain't no way, I'm not getting no ticks on me no more.
Yeah, and we in the Midwest, like the mosquitoes are out here in late spring and through summer, and they like dark meat. Like, and the way that I whelp up, like, is unreal. Like, I'll be out there, and like all of my white friends is out there is like having a great time, and I'm like, I'm done being out here. I'm going inside, and I'm like looking. I've got like whelps like the size of dimes on my arm. They're like, oh, how did that happen? Like, you're not seeing all these mosquitoes out here, and they're just like, oh no, like we're good. Like, unreal. So my hot take for today is that mosquitoes are racist, and other than that, like, you guys have prove me wrong.
I feel that. I think for me, my carry, I always have my carry on me. That's it. Like, I would forget a lot of things, but I'm not gonna forget that no more. I had some weird experiences in the woods. It's like sleeping in the truck, and we're like deep back roads. Shouldn't be nobody out there, not in season, and just like running into some weird shit while we're sleeping. And I was like, never again. Didn't have a knife on me, nothing. And I was like, never again. Never again. You will not catch me out there ever again without it. So that's my must have. I might not have no snacks, but I can create a snack.
Yeah, no, same. I
That's
listen. I
fair.
I
That
grew up in
makes
a
it pretty easy.
I grew up in a Smith and Wesson household. Shout out Smith and Wesson. I be having it on me. Maybe not all the time, but you never know. And I'm like, I know this is a podcast, but like, if you've never seen me, I'm a big girl. I promise you, I could conceal it. I promise you. You'll never know.
All right, so we're gonna move into a segment called Fair or Nah. And what fair or nah is, I'm gonna read some statements, and I just want your very quick, very like honest take on, is that a fair statement, or like, nah, that ain't true, that ain't happening. So we're gonna run through. I've got a few of them here. So we're gonna start off with, if people wanted access, they would just ask.
No. The reason I say that is because I'm not about to walk up. Like, I'm thinking private land. I'm not about to walk up to some random person's doorstep. I'm starting to get a little bit more brave and braver and braver the more people I hang out with that hunt and do it. But no, I don't think it's fair. I feel uncomfortable as hell going up to somebody's doorstep to ask to hunt their land. So no.
I second it. I live in rural Colorado. I'm not doing it. That's crazy. I might like ask somebody to ask for me, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
And send them with a
also,
picture so they know.
yeah. Also, access, I feel like access isn't just like having a place to go. Access also looks like, can I afford to take time off to go here? And that, it's not that easy.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
not everybody got
I
PTO.
know for sure. Yeah, for sure. All right, next one. You need thick skin for the outdoors.
Oh yeah. That's a true statement. Fair. Cause it's cold. Most of the time when you're hunting, at least out here, right? Like Western out here, it's cold, it's shitty weather. It's a lot of failure. So I'm gonna say, yeah, you gotta have thick skin. Otherwise you'll quit and you're gonna go find a new hobby.
Yeah, I am gonna agree. You don't need to have thick skin in terms of like interacting with like other people, but you need to be very comfortable with failing. Like you have to be, it's not how I played sports growing up. It's not how you win it, it's how you lose it. That's, I think, the thing about being an outdoors woman that you really have to be comfortable with. Like if you're going to walk away from a hunt and be mad every time, go read a book.
I feel like we need more hunt stories, like more failed hunt stories. Because of course everybody's looking, when they're jumping on YouTube or they're jumping in to watch reels or they're on TikTok, they're looking at like, oh, look at the successful hunt. As people that are in the outdoors, like we know that you probably went out 12 times before you had that one video to make. And just normalize failing in the outdoors more, I think would be really helpful for new hunters to know. It's like, hey, you may not even see something the first time that you go out, let alone have the opportunity to try to make a great shot
Yeah.
on what you're trying to harvest.
Yep. Cause my ass watching YouTube videos thought I was about to harvest a bull elk in the first year on a bow. Like I was certain I was doing it. And still ain't even I've seen one now, but this is 3 years it took me to be able to even see one. So yeah, there needs to be more failure. And I don't want to be a part of filming brown bodies telling. I'm only filming white people fail hunts. So
Yeah, I think what people have to realize too is when you see these like, Ranellas, Callahans, like Putellises out hunting, like they again have access that the everyday person isn't going to have. And that's not to speak on like their hunting ability. They're all phenomenal, very ethical hunters, but that's not what it looks like to walk onto public land. Like this whole public versus private thing is forever going to be a point of contention in the hunting community, but I'm sure they have people calling them up and they're like, I have X amount of deer on this property, like come out. That's not what it looks like in real life. Like I promise you, we're going to be okay on public land, but you're going to walk out there and you're going to do a lot of arm snacking and not a lot of hunting. And that's okay.
a lot of naps in the trees with the gun, you know?
Mm. All right, next one. Representation doesn't change outcomes.
That is a nah for me.
I'm gonna say no.
100%. I probably would have done hunting way sooner if I had seen more black and brown people. I wish I knew about hunters of color way earlier in my life. I'll say that.
Yeah. I think
See, how long did it take for you? See, sorry to butt in, Bianca, but Kenny, how long did it take for you from the moment of like, I think I would like to try that to actually going out and doing it?
I went to hunt since I was a kid, but I just didn't have anybody that I could hunt with. And then when I had just kind of like started doing shit on my own, like in my like late 20s, and was just like, you know what, fuck this. Like if I'm gonna do it, I just want to do it. Excuse my language, sorry. And I was like, I'm gonna just go buy a rifle. And then I was like, I'm lying to myself. I want to bow hunt. So it was like from the time frame I thought I wanted to hunt, I just pulled the trigger, bought a bow, and then I started hunting. And then turns out I actually like waterfowl and like bird hunting a lot more, just because you get more interactions, and it's way more fun. But I was very, very short to the runway to just being like, fuck it, I'm doing it. And now I'm a hunter.
Yeah. All right. How about some spaces just aren't for everyone?
Controversial take? I'm gonna say yeah.
hmm,
Yeah, tell us more.
Some of them ain't, bro. Like it's just not like some people are just not meant for certain things, and that is okay. And we have to accept that and acknowledge it and be okay with that. I'm not saying that you couldn't figure out how to be there, but I think that life will be harder if you choose these things and they're not meant for you. Um, and I don't. That's not. Yeah, that's. I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't think I need any more explanation behind that. I think like some shit just ain't for everybody, and that is okay.
damn, I don't know which way I want to lean on this one.
That's a tough one.
It is a tough one. I'm gonna say no. I think in terms of the outdoors, I think there's a way to do whatever it is you want to do. You just have to know that you might have to do it differently. Like I've deer hunted and elk hunted, and I know I have different physical limitations than like a 5'9" man who weighs like 180 pounds and like works out all year. You know, like it's different.
Yep, I can agree with that because I got some friends that did a backcountry hunt with, and I was like, "This is for y'all," you know, like, this is for y'all. This is not for me, and I'm okay with that. And
Yeah.
you know, you can pull me along if you want, and they took off running, and I was like, "Y'all
See,
got that? I'm gonna watch from this hill over here."
I love backcountry, but the minute we start going up, I'm like, why? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Why? Like, wait a minute. Or at some point, if you talk to Jam on this podcast, she was like, you have to come to Texas and aoudad hunt. The last one I did, I was hanging off a cliff and they had to pull me up. And I was like, don't ever invite me out again. That's crazy. Why would you ever invite me to that? I don't want to do that. That's not for me. That's
better not be the case.
Me and Bianca be back at the cabin making soup.
absolutely, absolutely. I'll have some sandwiches prepared. I'll have some like iced tea mixed up, but I'm not about to hang off a cliff. That's crazy. I'm not built like that. I'm not that hard.
All right, we're gonna move into the next segment, and it's not gonna get any easier. So this segment is called "Would You Rather." We'll give you two different scenarios, and you got to pick one. Like you can't say I'll do both. Like it's got to be one or the other. So you can either always be late or always be tired.
I don't think that one's fair because I'm gonna guess all of y'all are always late, me included in that. And
Speak for yourself.
no, I'm playing.
Keep my name out your mouth.
Playing. I'm always tired though, so I'm just gonna pick that one. I stay tired, so
I'm gonna say always be late. I hate being tired. I would rather always be late.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I think I would be on the always tired side. And I think this is because, like, as a single dad, like, I feel like I'm already always tired. So, like, that's not a massive change for me. So, all right, this one's a tough one. Would you rather miss the shot of a lifetime or miss every easy shot?
every easy shot. I'm dreaming of the shot of a lifetime still, so every easy shot.
Okay. Bianca?
I'm thinking. I'm gonna say the shot of a lifetime. Because
that's gonna haunt you forever, though.
I don't think like that. I feel like I do it for the love of the game. I was still out there. I still saw like amazing wildlife, and it's still a great opportunity, even if I don't like get something in my freezer. So I'm gonna say the shot of a lifetime.
Yeah, I think I would also go with a shot of a lifetime, just because like I don't have to tell anybody about that. I mean, I guess you don't have to tell everybody about like the miss every, but I mean, if you're hunting like with folks and you have a very easy shot and you're gonna miss every easy shot that you've ever, and you're gonna have where I hunt, I'm gonna have more easy shots than I'm going to have shots of a lifetime. Like it's a lot of open field hunting and like very easy, like meat in the freezer shot, really easy.
But shot of a lifetime, we're talking like, a state record buck comes out and you miss it.
Yeah.
If you're missing every easy shot, you can go wait in the car because that's crazy. That's crazy. Like don't bring that here.
I'm not bringing you.
Go practice.
No, listen, I had a friend in high school that I think he may have like this may have been his life, like where he had to choose when he was born if he was going to miss every easy shot or if he was going to miss a shot of a lifetime. When I tell you that this guy had a doe walk up and probably 50 yards, and mind you, we're rifle hunting, shot this thing in the back leg, started taking off, loaded another one, deer slowed down, shot again, shot him in or shot the doe in, like it was a gut shot after that. It kept going. And then finally shot the deer, like slowed down, stopped again. It was just kind of like leaning. It shot the deer through the back of the neck. When I tell you that this doe ran and jumped into a pond, it's like, hey, listen, I'm done here. I'm tired. Like, if you're going to shoot me right. And you can't do it. So I'm just going to go drown myself in this pond because I'm tired of this happening. So, like, I feel like he maybe had to have chose at the very beginning of his life that he was going to miss every easy shot that was ever presented to him. But it was a wild, wild situation. So, all right, next one. Would you rather hunt perfect conditions once a year or poor conditions all season?
Isn't that the same thing?
What do you mean?
Would you rather hunt perfect conditions once a year or poor conditions like all year round? Isn't
They
Yeah,
could be
so
moderate. They could be moderate conditions if you only get that one perfect day.
say the question again?
All right. Would you rather hunt perfect conditions only once a year or poor conditions all seasons?
Oh, do you only get one hunt day if you choose the perfect? But then you can
No, you get
all
one.
season.
You get one perfect. You get one hunt in a perfect condition.
And that's it.
Yeah. Or you get
As
more
many days as
conditions
you
all
want.
season long. But it's cold. It's potentially rainy. Like it's miserable outside. It's wet.
I'm gonna choose that because that's like duck hunting is just like you're just sitting in bad weather all day, and at least I'm out there. And one day, I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need them days in the woods that's just wet and crappy because I just want to at least be out there.
That'd also be awful for your job too, Kenny. It's like you only have one perfect day.
Yeah, like,
Trying to fill.
you guys got to get it done. This is it. So I'm gonna need you to get it done today. Yo, that would be crazy. Could you imagine the pressure for not me? Because I don't feel the pressure. It's them. That would be awful.
I'm going to say poor conditions because I feel like here hunting in Colorado, something I consider a poor condition is probably like ideal. So I'm going to say poor conditions.
Yeah. I think I lean towards that as well. So the last one, would you rather only hunt in jeans for the rest of your life or have to borrow gear every time you hunt?
Jeez, I don't want to be no beggar.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm a jean hunter. And it might just be where I'm at in the Midwest, and then it might just be,
Ooh.
dude. Well, I tell you what, like I don't have a problem throwing on jeans and boots and walking out and going to hunt. Like it's never been a problem for me. Like I've always felt like I've been able to harvest what I needed to harvest. I think everybody feels like they have a mentor they feel like they learn from the best from. That's how my grandpa's been doing it for a long time too. We kind of set up our blinds and stands in a way where we feel like we can get away with gene hunting, but I would 100% go jeans for the rest of my life. That way I don't want to be calling somebody like, hey, like I'm gonna go hunt. Can I borrow some gear to go do that? So I'm 100% count me in for jeans.
I
It's
am
crazy how you can grow
imagining,
with jeans.
yeah, I'm imagining like Tony in these like tight, bedazzled, fugazi, baby fat, like jean leggings, alerting all the deer because of all the rhinestones, like double cheeked up in the woods. Like that's what I'm picturing.
I think you might have a misrepresentation of the type of jeans that I wear.
Listen,
Baby fat. You save them just for hunt season.
rhinestones all on the back.
Looking like a disco ball out there.
Tony's out here looking like Kimora Lee Simmons.
I will say I did not anticipate that being a description that was made today, but I appreciate that thought, Bianca.
I got you. When you say
What
borrow,
are you Gene?
do you mean borrow everything or borrow something each time?
No, borrow everything.
I'm gonna say jeans.
I think that's an easy one, yeah.
Yeah, because like, listen, you could just wear some like double front jeans and you're gonna be all right.
The stir. All right, moving on to a segment that we have every episode. It is the Unfiltered Outdoor Thought. So this episode, I want to talk about something that is completely unfiltered. I think is really works against the authenticity of people of color in the outdoors. My unfiltered thought is we are not fooled by tokenized marketing. If you think for 1 second, and if you're a brand out there listening to this, feel free to call me. I'll help you understand why your marketing isn't working for people of color. If you think for 1 second we can't tell the difference in you paying a person of color to throw a bow around their shoulder on a mountain to take a picture versus somebody who is authentically involved in the outdoors, you're 100% wrong. Stop going to recruit models for your product pictures and find people that you would like to market to who are already using it. Find people who are in the outdoors. If you've got a new product that you want to market to people of color, find people of color who are already in the outdoors, give them that product and authentically create pieces around how they use it. Stop finding people as models, throwing a shotgun over their shoulder, having them pose out with your new camo and your new boots. Like, we know when it's fake.
I'm going to piggyback that for a minute and say when I figure out what gear I'm going to use, I want to see you taking pictures of somebody going through it. I mean, through it. Like, take a picture of somebody when they come back from a hunt, not at I want to see, like, what will this survive? Think about it like car commercials. Like, they drive fast. They're, like, going, through all this. Like, that's what I want to see someone going through it.
Yeah, that's an interesting take too, because I've worked with some brands where they try to make things look super pretty and clean, and then other brands where they'll intentionally it's mad funny. They'll intentionally like scuff them up, like take the boot, right, and just rub it on the ground and rub it against rocks, even though it hasn't been like actually put to the torture test, just so it looks like people are doing the thing. So that's a oh, that's a funny one. Yeah, I agree with that though. I want to see like real people out there.
Well, at the end of the day, too, like I don't want to create a false picture. Like if your brand is not already representing people of color in the outdoors on its own, don't create a false narrative. Like, if you want to find somebody that wants to be an ambassador of your brand that really believes in the products that you have, great. But don't create a false narrative saying like, oh yeah, like we've always been serving people of color and they've been using our products for a long time. It's actually one of the biggest parts of our market. Like, we just want to make sure that you know that if you want to be a part of this, we have a ton of people of color that are using our product. Just be honest with us. Like, hey, we want you to try this. We think it'd be really helpful.
Yeah.
Approach it as an outdoor situation. You know, I will also say that it is harder to market with people of color because we're not the top of your list. Like, when you're coming onto social media and you're looking for an influencer, if you're looking for somebody to use your product for marketing, it is much easier to find a white person. Take the extra effort. If you're really interested in marketing to people of color, take the extra effort, take the extra time, plan 3 to 6 months ahead of time to say, I really want this to be something that we represent people of color with, but I had to go find the right person who can do this authentically. Don't pay somebody. Don't just default to a white person if you feel like, oh, like we're only going to, be showing off this product to white people. And I'm not saying don't use white people to market. Continue to do that. But I'm saying don't fake marketing with people of color, because if you think we don't know, you're wrong. And I'm not going to shout out names right now, but I could.
I think on that
I'm gonna
note,
have to hear this.
don't be afraid to get it wrong either. Like, if you are beta testing anything and you give it to a certain person and they come, like, you might get some things wrong, but get it wrong now instead of when you're already pushing it out the door with the price tag on it, you know?
All right. Well, that's going to wrap us up for this episode. We would appreciate if you're enjoying listening to this podcast, or maybe you're watching online, maybe you're driving to and from work or listening on a lunch break, whatever you may be doing. Please like this podcast. Please subscribe. Please follow. That helps us get this message to so many more people, and we would love for you to support us in that way. Feel free to email us at infos@huntersofcolor.org to ask questions. Maybe there's something that you would like for us to have a conversation about. We would love to do that. So we thank you so much for listening. Look forward to talking to you guys next time.
Ooh, and in those comments, leave your hot takes. We want to hear y'all's hot takes as well.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Bianca, Kenny, appreciate you. Everybody else, we'll see you next episode.
Peace.